Live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and how are you? Welcome to Hold the Salt with Ahura Z, and I'm Ahura Z. Hi there. Okay, tonight I'm making one of my favorites, and with Daily Red Baker, it's been one of the favorites that a lot of people came to me for. This is chili cheese rolls, only for those of us on the low sodium diet, we're doing chili rolls because my chili has no salt other than for the meat in it. And it's safe, it's good. How are you all doing this evening? I hope everybody's had a productive week. I've had a very busy week, productive week, taking care of things and getting other things to plan. Now, earlier, I made the rolls. And they're right here. They don't look like rolls right now. They're just the dough that's been proofing. And I have another batch on the inside of the oven right now just cooking so that you can see what they look like when they're done. But this is one of the things that I do differently than the last time. This is my chili. And it's cooking. It's been cooking for, an hour and a half, 2 hours? And it's because when I'm doing the chili cheese rolls, the chili has to have a different consistency than the other, so I wind up reducing it down so this is a little thicker, so this kind of spreadable over the buns or over the dough for the buns so that I could roll it and do what I want to do with it. It has all of the ingredients for chili. Those of you that were with me when I did my chili, I can tell you some of the things that were in it. They're still here. There's the garlic, the onion, green pepper, corn, potatoes, and a little bit of celery. The seasons that go in it are all very different. They are, I use sage, garlic. I use some seasonings that are with basil and parsley and oregano, black pepper, and I also use the ground cumin for this, and paprika. If I was going to make it very, very spicy, I would use cayenne. In this particular blend, there is no cayenne, okay, for those that have more sensitive palates. And I let it cook there, and I keep it stirring. And I don't need it very watery, so I need it more on the thick and dry side, not too watery. So I wound up pouring some of the fat off, but not too much of that, so it can simmer and just kind of soak it all in. I have some of my bakery things here, and this is going to taste really, really good. If you were here, you'd smell what it smells like so far, and I tell you, it smells absolutely wonderful. Now, I'll tell you how you do this chili. The best thing for you to do, if you're going to use something like tomato paste for your base, is you take your tomato paste and you mix it, you get it all nice and loose. You add a little bit of water, and you add your ground onion, which is very, very good. Make sure you add your garlic, and make sure that you add the Italian seasoning. Well, I call it Italian seasoning, but it's mostly just oregano, parsley, and basil. Okay. And I love using ground sage for things, and black pepper. Now, when you do that, you mix that with the tomato paste, a little bit of water, so that you can actually loosen it up. Very, very good. What you don't want is an overbearing tomato taste to your chili. You add your cumin in, and you add your black pepper and your paprika, and it winds up tasting really, really good. You can test this at any moment that you want to. The result should be, when you add your ground beef, your result should be something that you can just kind of move around. Very, very easy. I add the corn in, and the green peppers, and I add the onion in, and let that cook for a while. You can see that. Now, I don't know if anyone has ever made cinnamon rolls before, but when you're making the dough for your cinnamon rolls and you are spreading things across, your butter is really important. Okay, so we use butter here too, and it's very, very important. And then you add your sugar and your cinnamon. Okay, but it still has to be kind of spreadable. So you don't want things to clump up. So I don't want this to clump up. Okay, so I don't need it to be too dry, and at the same time, I don't want it to ruin the actual bun, so I don't want it to be too wet either. This is going fine. Okay, I'm going to turn this heat off just for a second and put it back on proofing. I'll let this cool down a little bit, and this is my pan. You can treat the pan with either PAM, the cooking spray, for baking. There's a lot of different cooking sprays, but you get one for baking. Or you can just use butter. I wouldn't use oil, unless you absolutely have to. Okay, and let your meat cool down a little bit. Now we're going to play Baker Man. You can see we proofed our dough. Now I know that a lot of people let their dough proof for hours and hours. I do not. This is part of the dough that we already had. Okay. Mine proofed for maybe an hour because I just like the way that it feels. I like the way that it tastes. Get your flour, spread it out, make sure there's not too much. Excuse me for being messy, but I'm a messy person. I enjoy it more when I'm messy. So we'll take this. Shouldn't do too long. Now, at the physical location of my bakery, I did this every morning. I had a great time doing the cinnamon rolls. I had a goal. My goal was to get my cinnamon rolls in better than anything that, was that one place?
Cinnabon.
No, not them. I passed them up a long time ago. There's a place that's a little neat little bakery that's in Westbrook, or on the border of Westbrook and Portland. And I did get my cinnamon rolls as good as theirs.
Panera?
Huh?
Panera?
Oh, Panera, yeah.
I don't know is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got them better than theirs, in my opinion. But then people would come and tell me. So, I made sure that I kept going.
Your braids.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
I'm looking at everything. I don't need your help. I'm looking at everything I do. Now, your dough, when you're doing cinnamon rolls, you don't need to do it really thin. I know people do them thin, but I'm not one of those. Because I'm going to cut it in the end anyway. I'm doing a smaller batch, just so you all can see what it's like, and so they can help you out. So, how many of you actually get to do baking at any point in time? You just let me know, Kazi, let me know. it's important to know that I don't use any salt to bake with. Even my chili has no salt. But I guarantee you it's full flavored. And there are a lot of people that are actually here that are waiting for it. Okay.
Mara is watching.
No kidding. Anyone else watching?
Oh yes, a whole lot of people. Sandy Rooster is watching.
Hey Sandy, how you doing?
And we have, oh, it's a list. Amelia Torres, Alyssa Ray Sproul, Patrice Patty,
Thank you all for joining.
Amalia Torres, Debbie Bacon, Dale Evans, Martha Stoltz Eaton.
Okay, let that sit there just for a second.
Chris
I need to check one thing.
Chris Hosen Scroggin says,
Yeah,
sounds
come.
delicious.
You don't need to come over.
Okay. Elaine Riordan. Hi, everybody. Melissa Carter Pacheco.
That is beautiful.
Karen Patterson. Nikki Tierney. Joe Sterling and Nikki.
Well, I appreciate you all joining. I hope that I can help you. If you already don't know, learn how to cook without salt. Now, I have two types that I make. One with just the chili, one with cheese. For those of you that can have cheese, okay, we can do it that way. For those of you that can't have cheese, it's still just as good.
We have Pua Book says, aloha from Texas.
Aloha, kia ora. That's how I would say it.
Mona Hardy says, hi, I'm new. What are you making?
I am making chili cheese rolls, or buns, however you choose to see them. Let's see. My butter. Now, one of the things that I do is put a light coating of butter before I begin to fold the rolls. Now, for those of you that would like to know what I use, besides my own secret thing to make my dough rise, I don't use any salt whatsoever. I don't use a bunch of sugar. I use my yeast, and I use it in a certain way.
Pua Book said,
For those of you that believe that you need salt to bake, it is so untrue. So very untrue. You do not need salt to bake with. Okay?
Pua Book said, kia ora, brother.
Kia ora. I hope you all are doing good. I really do. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this. I don't know if any of you have tried something similar to this before, but it's quite easy to do. Now, you don't need to coat it all, and in other words, you don't need to make it so that every inch of the dough is like totally covered with the chili, okay? So if you do that, you won't be able to do anything with it. We don't want our dough too soggy. We don't want it too thick, because remember, you're doing a roll, so literally a roll, which means that you'll get plenty of chili, okay? The whole idea is to be able to make this and make it yummy however you'd like. If you choose to add something else, like a different type of meat to your chili, you can do that as well. If you want to add more vegetables, you can do that as well. Just remember, don't add too much because then you won't be able to roll it properly. And that can be a little frustrating. Now, what I'm going to do for this one is I'm just going to add a touch of cheese, about a pinch. Okay, maybe a little more. See that? Just that. Okay. Mozzarella, you may get. That's a very low sodium cheese for those of you that can have cheese. For those of you that cannot, listen, don't negotiate. Just don't use it. You know, it's the same with, but I feel the same way about a lot of things. For instance, salt substitutes, I never use. I don't do that. I did the same thing when I quit smoking, like over a decade ago. So I didn't use any nicotine patches or anything like that. I figured that if I was going to do something, if I was going to quit, then I needed to quit. And I did. I quit. I've never gone back. I made a resolve, a firm resolve. So when I was put on a low sodium diet, I wasn't looking for a way around the diet. Do you understand? I didn't need a way around the diet. So I didn't get a way around the diet. I let the salt go. It was very hard to shop at first, but I got used to it. Now, as you see that, that's kind of what it will look like, okay? That's just the end. I want to use that anyway. And you'll go, if you get one of these, it's fine, or you can use a regular knife, that's up to you. Give yourself about 1.5 inches between them, unless you like it a little thicker. Come a little closer. Press this. So you can see that. Now once they cook, they'll look a little different, but I have to proof them first, again.
The other side.
This is very important.
Kua book says, so you removed salt completely from your diet.
I did, indeed. As much as I possibly could until the doctor told me that I needed to eat some salt. I declared war on salt, literally. I don't cook with salt. I don't bake with salt. And when I'm baking for people in my bakery, I've had a few people come and ask me if I could just add a little bit of salt, and I told them no. And the reason that I told them no is because I didn't want any accidents. Okay? I didn't want to just add salt to something and then mistakenly add some salt to something else. I wasn't going to do that. The thing we used to say on the streets, don't start no mess, it won't be none. Okay? In other words, if I'm on a low sodium diet, why should I compromise myself or what it is that I'm doing? That's what that should look like. Okay?
She says, Kua book says, amazing, good for you. Hypertension is very pronounced in Polynesian culture.
Yeah.
It's all the spam.
Yeah. It's not just a
No,
spam.
I'm just kidding.
There's a whole lot of other things.
I love spam.
And you know, the funny part about it is that I've been one to take care of my body. Anyone who knows me, I've always taken care of myself. You know, but there's some things you just miss out on. I had a fondness for salt.
No, tell them your fondness for the fruit of choice with salt.
Oh. I developed this thing for plums. Plums and salt. And other forms of fruit with salt. I couldn't help it. It was so good. And one day I decided that, because we found a place that I could get plums, I decided to eat 32 plums with salt. And that was a mistake, obviously.
Azumai says, plums, lol, I remember.
Yeah.
We went to a pick your own plum
Pick your own
plum
thing,
orchard.
and I was
We
in
had
heaven.
bags of them.
But anyway, I got put on that diet, and let me tell you, it really frustrated me for a minute. 'Cause I couldn't find anything to eat. I couldn't find a thing to eat. I couldn't find anything that was going to satisfy my war on sodium. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yes.
Azumai says, the wine you guys made was incredible.
Thank you.
Plum wine. Dagira says, I never understood the fruit with salt thing, but I don't do salt anyway because it's too bitter.
Yeah. You know, my diet is 2,000 milligrams of sodium per day. But this is what I found. After doing so much research, I found that the average American eats between 5 and 10,000 milligrams of sodium. That's and you know, a lot of times it's not even their fault. It's just that everything has salt in it. Everything. You go to the supermarket, you will look at so many things that have sodium in it that don't need it. It's like, well, we use it for preservative, please. So many things you use for a preservative. Give me a break. You know, or, you know, I remember that. I mentioned that last week that I heard this young girl say, she was attempting to make cinnamon rolls. And she said, well, you need the salt in order to taste the sweetness. And I went, what? What? What do you mean you need the salt to taste the sweetness? That's ridiculous. And I just laughed. And I decided not on my watch. So I started doing this, because I opened my bakery because I didn't want people to be afraid of eating. It's a horrible feeling to be afraid to eat, or to be afraid to just live, you know. And I knew how to cook, I knew how to bake, and I knew what to do with flavors. So I decided, I decided I was going to open this bakery to help feed people. And I'm doing this show to help people be able to cook and not be afraid to eat. It's ridiculous that they put so much salt in so many things. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose, just to make it so that we get sick. Or in this vicious circle of salt and hypertension, you know. Okay, hold on a second. No, stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have to put this over here to, I have to put your rolls over here to proof. And that's gonna take a good 20 minutes, okay? So, I'm going to show you all the finished product. Oh, this is important. When you put your rolls over to proof to rise, make sure that you cover them with a towel or something that is not like plastic. You really don't want to do that. Yeah, it's all good. Now I get to show you all. This is what they should look like. Okay? Or thereof. They smell really good. It's your chili cheese rolls.
I can hear people in our house already like salivating and
Well, I can't say I blamed them. Probably hungry.
it smells so good, guys.
Make sure that you butter them. And if you want to add something else to them, whatever kind of sauce that you have, you may.
Gira sent drooling emojis.
Yeah, Gita. That'd be great if you were here.
Rebecca Flores says those look so good.
Thank you. There. Beautiful.
Mona,
Sit there. It's cool if you want. And there it is. Next week I'll have something else that will be very, very good.
we have some comments.
Okay, what was the comment?
Mona Hardy says, looks divine, wish it was a smell-o-vision.
Yeah.
And Azumani says, damn, can't wait for the cookbook, we need it. Gira says, mentally I am.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate you all
Hey
watching.
Belinda.
Hey Belinda, how you doing? Oh, did she just get on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I better show her these.
Yeah, are you home, Belinda? Mona Hardy says, do you use baking powder or baking soda?
No, not at all. I never use baking powder or baking soda.
For
Ever.
not
Now,
that.
for cookies and things like that, we have a no sodium baking powder that we use for that. But for these, no.
There you go, Belinda.
Or any of my breads.
She says, I'm home, hello!
There you go. Chili cheese rolls.
And Gira says, can we get a shopping list so we can cook with you?
Sure.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that. That's great.
Mona Hardy says, I can't find either in town low salt. You might have to order it off of
Yeah,
Amazon.
you may have to go online and look for it. We do the type of yeast that I use is called SAF Pro, SAF Pro, and it's very good to use. The only flour that I ever use to bake with is now. It's important to understand this. I have not been endorsed by them. They don't pay me in any way. They don't do anything, but I really appreciate them being around, and that's King Arthur. King Arthur flour is the only type that I use for all of my products, and I would recommend the same for you. Unless I'm doing it gluten-free, then we use Bob's Red Mill, which is really, really good.
Belinda says, oh man, that looks yummy.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys worked pretty hard today, huh? Well, you know, I don't know, I may have a few extra if you're up for that. And King Arthur, Bob's Red Mill, SAF Pro yeast. It works very, very good. You don't have to wait so long. But it is important how much you put in, and it's important how you put it in. And works for my bread every time. And people always say, well, you don't use this? No, I don't use that. Well, how could you do this? I tried doing it, it doesn't work. Well, you know, there's some other things that I do. Now, I have worked very diligently at developing my craft. You know, if you know, I could teach you, but I have to charge.
Ha ha. Kate Rafter Campbell asks, do you post your recipes?
No, not at this time. Perhaps in the future. There's some things that the recipes are posted on. Like if you wanted one of my dry mixes, then the recipe would be on that. But like I said, I worked very hard to do this. I worked very long to do this, you know. Like anybody else that's in business for themselves, I don't aptly give out my recipes to anyone. There's some things I feel that are necessary to give out, like information, but my recipes are my own. And I'm sure you understand.
We have some comments here.
Sure.
Mona Hardy says, thank you so much for the info. Melissa Pacheco says, oh, yum. Thanks for the Friday cooking lesson.
Awesome.
Gara sent laughing, crying, tear eye emojis.
Yes.
Mona Hardy says, is it SAF Pros, the spelling of the yeast?
SAF Pro.
Okay.
And I'd like to thank you all for joining me this evening. Remember, don't negotiate your sodium. If you're on a low sodium diet, observe the low sodium diet. It'll be okay. Your taste buds will wake up, and all of a sudden you will begin to taste again. Okay? If your doctor tells you to do something with your diet, or your nutritionist, I'll put it that way, follow what the nutritionist says. It's not that hard. I mean, it seems hard at the beginning, but it'll work out. But as far as sodium goes, make things without it, okay? I'm sure the cookies are out there, but if you need cookies, just go to www.dailybreadlowsodium.com, okay? And we can supply your cookies for you, and your cakes and all of that good stuff. Your cinnamon rolls, or even your chili cheese rolls, okay? So look around. If, let's see, I'll start announcing what it is, or maybe I'll put it up on the website, what I'm going to make the Friday. And if you want to go out and shop with it, I'll have all the ingredients here and we can do it together. Okay?
Gara says, I was laughing at the I could teach you, but I'd have to charge comment. And I said, yes, I know. And Kate Rafter Campbell says, thanks so much.
Of course. Okay. Thank you all. Remember, you're safe with me. I'll do my best for you. Peace.